had to get out of the house. Nia was crying. And I feel so bad. I hate watching people cry, especially Nia. It just fucking tears me up. But she was watching this little Asian girl sing, and it was like some singing competition over in Korea, I believe. And the girl was like, I think she's 9, and this cute little kid singing this beautiful song, really good singer. And I guess her father had died when she was 7, which a couple years earlier, and the song was about him. And so it's really emotionally charged, you know. And then she started crying, the girl singing, and Nia's like, yeah. So I'm like, all right, I'm going. And being the, you know, kind of cynical person I am, I popped out of the fucking bathroom in my head as I was in the mirror. I'm like, that's a competition, right? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, she's probably gonna win. And she's like, oh yeah, she's definitely gonna win. I didn't say anything, but I'm like, yeah, okay. Because you know what I'm thinking, right? I mean, of course, you know. And that leads in pretty well to the subject at hand, which is David Bowie isn't dead. I've known this for a while. I've known this since he was announced dead in 2016, because it wasn't long after he died, and I was looking around online for just, you know, Bowie shit, like people do when someone dies, you know. Now, I have a PhD in Bowie, so I wasn't looking for information, or a PhD equivalent. I was kind of rooting around, and I don't know how long after, it might have been the night before, couple nights after, but I ran into the Sky News program, and I forget the title of the video, but it's something eulogizing or the legend dead and stuff. In the thumbnail, it's him, but he looks a little weird, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? And I'm thinking it was him in some kind of movie he was in, or some role he played or something. And so I start watching it, and the lady has sitting at the news session. Now we're, you know, talking about whatever David Bowie. We have on this woman, some woman, and Jack Stevens from Fortress Music, which I'll get to later. Put a pin in Fortress Music, and it's fucking him. He's sitting there with a stupid smile on his face, and I'm like, what? Now I was kind of prepped for this because they had done this with Michael Jackson already. When he had died, he went on Larry King dressed up as his friend, Dave, who was a burn victim, who was burned all over his body when he was a little kid. And it was Michael Jackson in a burn fucking makeup costume on. Clearly him. You know, just, he has his voice, he moves like him. You know, Larry, Michael had a lot of young male friends, but he never did anything to those. They was just his friends. You really got to believe me. It's like, all right, Dave. So there was precedent here. They later did it with Prince too, with the sister that kind of came out of nowhere. But I remember the first appearance she made. She had like a shawl over her face because I think they hadn't figured out how to hide the very hairy upper lip yet. Looked like she was a girl with a mustache. But anyway, stay on the Bowie thing. So I start watching this, and it's fucking Bowie. It's Bowie. He's got like some kind of makeup on, which isn't really good. I mean, you can still see his face, like, for like maybe someone who's just doesn't know anything about him other than who he is, or even like maybe a casual fan who had, like, you know, changes Bowie or something, or had just seen him or liked some of his songs. It would be, they wouldn't think anything, I don't think. But for anyone that, you know, shit, I wouldn't even say you had to be an advanced Bowie fan. Like, you don't need to even have all his albums or seen him live. But if you do have most of his albums, or at least heard them, and have seen him live, yeah, it's fucking him. He's sitting there. And the stuff he's posing as, and I'll put a link to the video in the comments. And I know for people that have been here a while, I say that, and it's kind of like a joke at this point because I never do it. But I'm really going to do it. And I'm not making a joke how I say I'm going to fucking put her in there. It's going to be there. Just for sure. Because I'd show some of it, but I don't want it because I don't know how it is with that. I always get hit with stuff for copywriting. Point is, starts talking to him, and he's supposed to be a guy that met him a few times and works for a company called Fortress Music that does something, and we'll talk about them. But he's describing Bowie, and he says he was a fan of his, met him a couple times and worked with him in the music business, like somehow, some generic kind of way. Yet he has all this very deep insight about the guy in making it clear that Bowie was making it clear that he was actually very funny. You know, a lot of people don't know that about him, but he was very funny. He was a very funny man. And another thing a lot of people don't know is a lot of his singing and vocal style was based on Anthony Newley. Now we as Bowie fans, we know that, right? If you're a fan. But he's just dropping all this stuff that would be palatable for maybe a normal mass kind of audience. And that's why when you go in the comments and everybody's just having fun with it, of course, because everybody knows it's him. There's a lot of jokes and people just memeing down there. But some people are saying, you know, he's mocking us. It's a humiliation thing. I don't think so. I think he just felt like he was going on like a regular kind of mass media kind of TV program, and he was just talking to like regular people at Sky News, you know. I think and as far as Bowie too, he always felt like he never felt like he was mainstream. Like he thinks like, oh yeah, sure, hon, how you doing?
All right.
Let me get one there. Going pretty good. Starting to rain, huh?
Yeah, that's all. Only those plastic too.
You see, hold on a second. It's in one of these pockets.
Yeah.
Here we go. Here we go. You got a lighter, dear?
Yeah, I got time.
Okay. Nice seeing you. Have a good night. So, yeah, it's clearly him. And he's explaining like stuff about himself that why would this guy know that? And he's saying like, you know, people don't know this about, I think he said people don't know about 10 times. And he's like, he had to work really hard for everything. He worked hard for everything he had. Nothing came easy for him. Like, he was talking, and he even slipped up a couple times and said, like, me, or hey, I forget exactly how it is, but, and the people interviewing him said that too. Like, they kind of referred to him as Bowie, like, do you think, or he had, and the very first thing he says, right, when he starts talking, when they introduce him, and he smiles all goofy, it's him, he's like, you know, when I heard the news, I felt like a part of me died. He leads with that. It's like, oh, come on, man. But I don't think, you know, I think this is just something they do. It's some weird ritual, something they have to, you know, because Michael Jackson did it, like I said, Prince. I haven't seen anyone else really since those three that I know of, but I haven't really been looking, or I mean, I don't know how you look for that kind of thing anyway, but, you know, major rock stars have died showing up after their death. I don't know, but it's really worth watching, and it's kind of amazing because, I mean, I always say, like, you know, everything's fake and actor-based reality, as Aaron Haywood says, and it's like, I know that, but then when you're sitting there and you're faced with it and you're watching it and you're looking at the reality of it, it's just a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling. Not like, it's not fear. I don't know, some dread, not dread, but there's some sort of existential thing that happens to you when you're watching it, because you're looking at Bowie talking, you know, he's supposed to be dead. Or they told me he's dead. They told everyone he's dead. And if you were to pull anyone off the street and talks about him or asks about him if they knew who he was, and they say, oh yeah, he died. Hey, so what the world as we know it, our reality has told us that this guy died, and there he is, just sitting there. And I said, and I say that if you were a casual fan, or you know, it might not ping your fucking thing, ping your whatever. But if anyone that was a fan and invested any time with him as an artist, it's like so transparent. It's not a good disguise. And then he talks about being part of Fortress Music. Now, Fortress Music, he didn't say what they did, but when you look up Fortress Music, it leads to a YouTube channel for Fortress Music, which has no logo, no avatar, no anything. It's just like, you know how they have those YouTube avatars, it's like a letter. It's like that. And they have one video on their site, and it's that one. And they give a little bio about what Fortress Music is. And it said it's Jack Stevens, the Bowie guy, and Larry Little formed Fortress Music, and I think it was 2011, to help bring new artists into the music, whatever. These guys don't exist. There is no Larry Little. There is no Jack Stevens. You can't find any photos of this Bowie guy, and you can't find anything else about Fortress Music. It's like this bio that was written out, just for the YouTube page. They put very little work into it. And then there's a link, okay, to Fortress Music website. And you go there, and it takes you to an archived page from BowieNet. Now, I know it's a BowieNet page because I was part of BowieNet. It doesn't say it anywhere on the thing, but the design, the look of it, the whole thing is how BowieNet used to look when you logged into BowieNet. The way it's done with like graphics from the late 90s, and it's a BowieNet page on that server. And it's right out there in the open for the world to see. You can go there and look at it now. And in the comments of the video, people just discuss how fucking crazy it is, how mental it is that this is. It's really one of those, like, is this the real life moments, you know? It's weird, you know, because you're watching it and you're like, all right, this guy's dead. Or our reality is saying one thing, but I'm looking at something that is contrary to it and not trying to hide itself very well at all. He's a smart guy. It's almost like, and on top of it, he's dropping these kind of hints to kind of clue. If you're a real fan, I forget exactly how it is, but you gotta watch it and you'll know what I mean. Like the way he words things and the way he talks about, refers to himself in a certain way that he's supposed to be this guy referring to him, but it's like, it's him telling a story about how what he was. It's fucked up. Now, Michael Jackson did the same thing. In fact, he didn't really even try at all. I think they should have said something more, because he went to bat for his innocence in the kid thing, way too enthusiastically. It's like he felt like he was, I don't know. He saw his chance to try to change people's minds, but I mean, he's supposed to be dead, and it's clearly him. It's just a weird thing. I mean, it's just out there, and I'm surprised no one, like, big on YouTube, like, picked up on this, because, like, unless they can't, unless it's being, because I've never seen anyone do a video on this, except me right now. I've never seen anyone else do it, you know? What's up, man? I've never seen anyone talk about it outside that message board. I mean, outside the comment section. Hang on a second. Yeah, I just had to go, well, I didn't have to tell you that. I had to stop to record that because I want to record a separate thing of it to send to Nia, because it sounds just like that song. She's singing a song that sounds just like the one I was talking about Nia watching at the beginning. And she's dressed the same way. It just looks like an older version of a little kid. That was fucking weird. What is that? What is that? I mean, you know? Weird. But anyway, yeah, check that out. For real, there is going to be a link down there. You can go look at it. I don't know what to think. I mean, you know, I've seen it many times. I've gone back to it many times. Just watching it again, relitigating it in my own head. It's the curtain being pulled back, and you're seeing the lattice work of the reality that we're in, you know, and like, you know, it proves that Aaron Haywood is right. It's an actor-based reality. These people are playing roles, you know, and with Bowie too, especially, like, since he's died, quote unquote, his output has been awesome. He's put out the Bowie estate has released some of the best shit in his catalog as far as live material. I mean, the unreleased studio, it's not much there. There's demos and different versions of stuff. I want the Tin Machine stuff is what I want, but I think they're still clearing that up with the various labels that was on. I think Victory Records, and it was on Virgin for that too in the UK. So they got to clear that shit up, because those records are fucking amazing. I love those Tin Machine albums. I love them. She's not very popular, so it's not a high priority. But he's releasing a couple things a year. For a while, it was like 3 things. It seemed like every quarter there's a new Bowie thing. I think there's more than a couple things. I think last year was 3 things. Archival stuff, where he'll re-release an early album with all the demos and like all the work behind it in a box, which, you know, I don't collect that stuff anymore. But it's all in streaming. And the live stuff from like 75, 77, 73, amazing shit. I'm thinking, why do we have to wait till now to get all this? But yeah, we're fucking Bowie fans. Fucking pretty psyched with this stuff. But anyway, yeah, I don't know if he's dead now. I mean, he was 69 when he was supposedly died. And I remember that famous picture they kept showing of him, you know, and this is him the day before he died. And he's all dressed up, looking good. Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever had the unfortunate situation of having a loved one or someone around you die of cancer. But it's like a process. You know, they get put up in hospice for a while, or, you know, at some point they have to go in. You know, they're not just walking around dressed up like he was, like with John Cartier, fucking one of these suits on, you know, looking fine, and then the next day he's dead. Like he was out walking around here and like, ooh, my fucking cancer got me. Like, it doesn't work like that. The cancer doesn't come along and just strike you down. You know, who knows? There could be instances where that happens, but generally, it's a bit of a decline period. Sometimes a real slow one, and then with some people, they spend, you know, a couple days where they're not conscious. Their body's going through the death process where it's moving around and like trying to hang on to life, but the spirit's already way gone. You know, it's fucked up. It doesn't just like you're out walking and it comes along and just hits you. Like, oh, the cancer got him finally. You know, it doesn't work that way. Step bro. I mean, that's not how it works. Anyway, whatever. That's all aside. Enough of my yapping. Go check it out. It's pretty amazing. And it really, as you're watching it, try not to think too much about it. Stay in that humor zone. Because if you dwell too much on what you're looking at, it could really send you into a possibly a bit of an existential crisis. That happens to me. I've learned how to pull out of it, though. You grab the stick, you yank it toward you, and you pull up, and you sail above it all. That was an unfortunate selection of words all put together there, but you get what I'm saying. Thanks for dropping in. And until I see you next, don't blame the teacher. Blame the school.